All right, everybody. Welcome to this video. We are going to do the quadratic formula today. So here's the formula. It's going to help you to find, this is going to be used to find solutions. So kind of like what we were doing with factoring. But the big difference is this formula will work for any quadratic equation. So if we ever get a quadratic equation where we can't factor it, I know I showed you some examples like that. Then you would just go ahead and use this. You would use this formula and you'd be guaranteed to find some solutions. And so I just got an example here I'll walk you through. Find the zeros of f of x equals negative 4x squared minus 40x minus 99. All right, so let's approach it as if we were going to factor this. You know, the first thing that we would do is rewrite the function and make it an equation set equal to 0. So let me do that. It would be like negative 4x squared minus 40x minus 99 equals 0. All right, so if we were going to factor this, you would multiply negative 40 by negative 99, find factors of that value that add up to negative 40, rewrite your equation, do some factor by grouping, eventually set each factor equal to 0, and finally solve. So that was going to be hard. The hardest part about that is definitely going to be finding factors of 4 and 99, or the product of 4 and 99, that add up to negative 40. Not going to be easy to do, so let's just avoid that and use the quadratic formula instead. The general rule is, if you don't think you can factor something within 15 seconds, just go ahead and do the quadratic formula. All right, so let's use it. X, which is like our solutions, our zeros, they're equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Highly recommend that you've memorized this equation. It's going to be pretty helpful to you. All right, so now that we have a quadratic equation, we really just need to pick out a, b, and c, plug those into the formula, and then simplify. So it's really not so bad. Let's list them out over here. A is equal to, our leading coefficient is equal to negative 4. B is equal to negative 40. And lastly, C is equal to, that constant on the end there is negative 99. All right, so hey, if I start to plug these things into my quadratic formula, simplify, that's how I'll eventually get my two solutions. So let's just do it. Here, I'll do right here. X is equal to negative b. Be careful with the signs here. There was already a negative sign in front, and the b value I'm plugging in is actually negative 40. And then I'll do plus or minus the square root of, all kinds of stuff in here. So we got b squared. Okay, so that's going to be negative 40 squared minus 4 times the value of a times the value of c. So definitely a lot going on there. All divided by, all of this gets divided by 2 times a. So you're probably looking at that and saying, what the, but like I said, it's really not that bad. I mean, at this point, it really just becomes arithmetic. We're just simplifying. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just go through and simplify this equation here. X will be equal to positive 40 plus or minus the square root of. All right, so let's start figuring this stuff out. I just lost my calculator. Hey, so you guys know, if you square something, the result of that is going to be positive. So on some type of calculating device, you could just think of 40 squared or negative 40 squared is just 40 squared. And hey, so 40 times 40 is going to give you 1,600. We got 1,600 right here. And then I'm just going to do all of this in one shot. So I'm doing, suppose I can do negative 4, right? Negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 99. I get negative 1,584. Let me jot that down. Negative 1,584. This will all be divided by negative 8. Got 2 times negative 4, which is going to give me, like I said, negative 8. So if I just keep plowing through this, keep simplifying, it's really all it is. 40 plus or minus square root of. All right, so 1,600 minus 1,584, that is going to give us 16. Still dividing by -8. All right, guys, almost done. 40 plus or minus the square root of 16, which is actually just 4. And so that's where this plus or minus kind of comes from, right? There's two different kind of, I guess we'll say answers for the square root of 16. 4 times 4 is going to give us 16, and -4 times -4 is going to give us a positive 16. That's why we have this written right here, plus or minus 4. And that's going to help us get our two solutions. All right, so we're dividing by 8. Okay, so now once we have the square root figured out, this portion, we're going to split this up and get our two solutions. So 40 plus or minus 4, we're going to have one solution where we're doing the addition, 40 plus 4 divided by 8. And then our other solution is going to come from the subtraction part. So it's going to be 40 minus 4 divided by 8. Okay, so here we've got 44 over 8. Here we've got 36 divided by 8. So kind of two things that you can do at this point. We can either, I should probably make it to where you can actually see this. We can either just simplify these as a fraction. I forgot negative signs on all these. Or you can do this on a calculator and find the decimal amount. Let's just go ahead and do that. We'll just get the decimal amounts. So 44 divided by -8, that's going to give us a solution or 0 of -5.5. All right, fantastic. Not have been able to find that by factoring, right? And then this one, 36 divided by -8, that's going to give us -3.5. All right, and so hey, that is how you use the quadratic formula to solve an equation. Nothing more, nothing less. The process is rough, right? Like there's a lot going on there, but nothing about it is like truly, difficult. So I think maybe I can do one more example with you in this video, and then I'll probably just, bid you farewell. So let me get another example going here. See how we do with it. All right. So example number 2, right? One more quadratic formula problem. Really should have just done this on the old pad. All right, so hey, example number 2. Let's come up with another quadratic equation, and hey, we'll just go ahead and solve this one as well. So this one, let's have this equation. We're just going to solve, find solutions for this equation. Solve this. X squared minus 7x minus 8 equals, let's do +3. All right. So hey, this equation, it works kind of like with factoring. Remember, the first thing that you're going to be doing with factoring is making sure that your equation is set equal to 0. So since this one's equal to 3, that is something that we're definitely going to want to take care of. So the first thing we do is subtract 3 from both sides of our equation. We want to make sure that it's set equal to 0 before we try to solve it. All right, so hey, if you wanted to, you could absolutely try to factor this. You could try to find factors of 11 or of -11 to add up to -7, and you're going to be stuck doing that for a very long time. Again, if it takes you more than 15 seconds to find factors, you're probably just going to want to use the quadratic formula. So we are going to be using this. X equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right. So let's go ahead and work through it then, right? So we need 3 things to use this formula. We need to know the value of a, we need to know the value of b, and we need to know the value of c. So a is just going to be equal to 1. It's understood, right? There's just a 1 in front of this as its coefficient. B is equal to -7, and c, this number on the end, is -11. All right, so now let's go ahead and work through this. X will be equal to -b. Remember that. It's always starting off with a negative sign, and then you plug in your value of b. So it'll be -7 plus or minus the square root of, so we've got b squared, -7 squared. Okay, -4. That -4 is always there. And then we multiply by a, and then multiply by c. Multiply by a, multiply by c. Okay, that is all going to be divided by 2a. It's really just going to simplify to 2 in this case. All right, so let's just keep working through this. If you want to pause the video and kind of work through this on your own and see if you get the same solutions that I do, that would be a great thing, I think. But I'll just go ahead and work through it right now. X is equal to, so -7, that's going to simplify to just +7 plus or minus the square root of. So hey, -7 squared, well, that's going to give us 49. -4 times 1 is -4. And then -4 times -11 is +44. This will all be divided by 2. So x is equal to 7 plus or minus the square root of. So 49 plus 44, that is going to give us, 93. Square root of 93, all divided by 2. All right, so when you do the square root of 93, I'll show you on a calculator, we are going to have a decimal approximation. So the square root of 93 is approximately 9.64365. It's this number that's never going to end. So if you're ever asked to give the exact solution, this would be it. This is the exact solution right here. We're going to approximate, though, and get decimal values to make it kind of easier to interpret. It's hard to tell if you read this, what are the actual solutions. So we're going to go ahead and do the decimal approximation and get a better idea of where our x-intercepts actually are. So x is equal to 7 plus or minus. Okay, let's just round this one to the nearest 10th. So the square root of 93, we're going to represent that as, I should say approximately, since we're rounding, 7 plus or minus 9.6. And then divided by 2. So this, again, is where we split it up. After you've kind of calculated or evaluated your square root, we're going to split this up. So x is equal to 7 plus 9.6 divided by 2. And x is also equal to 7 minus 9.6 divided by 2. Okay, so hey, 7 plus 9.6, give us 16.6. Just cut all that stuff in half. So hey, there's one of our approximate solutions, 8.3. All right, cool. So now let's work on our other solution, 7 minus 9.6. And then divided by 2. So hey, on this one, x is going to be approximately -1.3. All right, so that's going to do it for the quadratic formula video. Remember this, you just have to start off with the formula. This will work for any quadratic equation. So if you're like really struggling with factoring and it's coming down to a test, you can always use this. So if you're going to get good at any method for solving quadratics, this is the one that you want. It's really easy to use. You just plug in the values of a, b, and c from the standard form of a quadratic equation. All right, y'all. So hey, thanks for watching, and I will see you in class. Bye-bye.